The paper was yellowed, the tape holding it inside the drawer brittle enough to crumble at Alex's touch. 7 rules, typed on what must have been a manual typewriter, the letters punching through the page in places. Someone had underlined certain words in red ink, or, what Alex hoped was red ink. The fluorescent lights hummed their eternal monotone. Somewhere in the depths of the archive, a tape reel clicked in its housing, metal on metal, regular as a heartbeat. Alex read. Rule 1. The lighting protocol. Every hour, on the hour, you must turn off the overhead lights in Sector C-7 for exactly 45 seconds, then turn them back on. Do not deviate, do not skip, do not extend. During those 45 seconds, keep your eyes on the floor. The darkness here has memory. Alex checked their watch. 11:47 p.m. 13 minutes until the first protocol. They folded the paper, hands trembling slightly, and continued reading. Rule 2. The sound protocol. Under no circumstances may you hum, whistle, or sing while alone in the archive. If you hear these sounds, and you are not making them, do not acknowledge them. The echoes will learn your voice. They will learn your rhythm. They will make you part of the chorus. The silence pressed against Alex's eardrums like water pressure. They became suddenly acutely aware of their own breathing. Rule 3. The anomaly check. At 1 a.m., 3 a.m., and 5 a.m., you must go to aisle 47B and verify that tape reel in 89 void is still in its case. You must read the label aloud. Nothing is archived here. If the tape is missing, immediately file a requisition form for tape reel int 89 void in cabinet 12. The form will be rejected. This is correct. The archive curates itself. You are simply confirming its choices. Alex looked down the main corridor. Rows of gunmetal shelving disappeared into shadow. Aisle 47B was deep in the labyrinth. Of course it was. Rule 4. The mirror, reflection. Between midnight and 4 a.m., do not look at any reflective surface. Windows, computer screens when dark, the glass doors of the microfiche cabinets. If you must use a computer, keep the brightness at maximum. Your reflection works the night shift too, but it clocked in long before you did, and its shift never ends. The computer monitor on the desk was black, reflective. Alex immediately moved it to face the wall. Rule 5. The voice. If the intercom activates, a voice will ask, "Are you archiving correctly?" You must respond with exactly these words, "I am filing what was never found." Any other response is incorrect. Silence is incorrect. The voice has been asking that question since 1963. The last archivist who answered differently is still here. You've probably walked past them. Alex's mouth went dry. The intercom box on the wall was institutional beige, its speaker cloth yellowed with age. Rule 6. The climax build-up. If you hear the sound of footsteps running toward you, do not hide, do not flee. Stand perfectly still and face the direction of the sound. They are not running toward you. You are standing in their past. The echoes move through time the way you move through space. Give them the right of way. This was insane. Every survival instinct Alex possessed screamed against this rule, but someone had underlined, "Do not hide" 3 times, the pen gouging the paper. Rule 7. The final rule. At 6 a.m., when your shift ends, you must go to the incinerator in sub-level 2. Burn these rules, all of them, then go to your desk and write new rules for the next archivist. You will know what to write. The archive changes. The rules must change with it. You are not following instructions. You are creating them. You always have been. Alex read that last rule 3 times. The words seemed to shift slightly each time, though the letters remained fixed. 11:58 p.m. Time to begin. Hour 1. 12 a.m. The lighting protocol. The walk to Sector C-7 took Alex through 3 distinct temperature zones. First the merely cool of the main archive, then the unseasonably warm passage by the old heating ducts, then the frigid pocket of air near C-7, the sector that, according to the floor plan on the wall, shouldn't exist at all. It was labeled in a different font than the other sectors, added later in faded pencil. Alex's watch hit midnight. They flipped the switch. The lights died. The darkness was instant and absolute, the kind of black that makes you doubt your eyes are even open. Alex stared at the ground, or where the ground should be. 45 seconds. They counted. 1, 2, 3. Something moved in the darkness. Not moved. Existed. A presence that had been waiting for the lights to die, that lived in this exact span of time every hour. 10, 11, 12. A sound emerged. Soft at first. Mechanical. The click and whir of a tape reel beginning to play. But there was no tape deck in C7. Alex had checked. 20, 21, 22. The sound grew closer. Not approaching, clarifying. As if it had always been next to Alex, and only now was becoming audible. Click whir click, click whir click. The sound of recording. The sound of something being archived. 30, 31, 32. Alex's eyes betrayed them. They looked up. The darkness had texture. Grain like old film. It moved in waves, scanning from top to bottom, the way a CRT monitor refreshes. And in that grain, in the spaces between the waves, shapes, human shapes, standing perfectly still, watching the floor, following Rule 1. How many night archivists had there been? 43, 44, 45. Alex slammed the switch up. The lights flickered on, buzzing angrily. The sector was empty. Just shelves and boxes and the smell of decaying paper. But Alex could still hear it, fading, click whir click, the sound of their own breathing being recorded. Hour 2, 1 a.m. The anomaly check. Aisle 47B was exactly where it should be and shouldn't be at all. Alex had walked past this section before. It had been aisle 46C. The numbers had changed. The archive curates itself. Tape reel 89th void sat in its case, the label crisp and white despite the age of everything around it. Alex lifted it with shaking hands. Nothing is archived here, they read aloud. Their voice fell dead in the air, absorbed instantly. No echo. The archive had accepted the words. Alex returned the tape to its case. Turned to leave. Stopped. The aisle behind them was longer than it had been. The shelves extended back into shadow, farther than the building's footprint should allow. And at the far end, barely visible, a figure stood. It was wearing the same clothes as Alex. It was reading from a piece of paper. Its lips moved. Nothing is archived here. Alex ran. They didn't remember the decision to run, just the running itself, the sound of their shoes on concrete, the burn in their lungs. When they stopped, they were back at the main desk. The clock read 1:07 a.m. They had lost 7 minutes somewhere in the shelving. The archive curates itself. Hour 3, 2 a.m. The lighting protocol. Again. The walk to C7 was shorter this time. Or Alex was moving faster. Or the archive was contracting. Lights off, eyes down, counting. 1, 2, 3. This time, Alex heard breathing. Not their own. A chorus of breathing, perfectly synchronized. Dozens of people all inhaling and exhaling in the dark. The night shift. 15, 16, 17. One of them, one of the breathers, began to hum, softly. A melody Alex almost recognized. Something from childhood, maybe. Something their mother used to sing. Rule 2. Do not acknowledge. The humming grew louder, closer, the melody becoming clearer, and with clarity came recognition. It was Alex's own humming, from earlier today, while driving to work. A mindless tune. A thoughtless moment. The echoes had been listening. 30, 31, 32. The humming stopped. A new sound, footsteps, running, coming closer. Fast. Rule 6. Do not hide. Face the sound. But Alex's eyes were on the floor. Rule 1. The darkness would be permanent. 43, 44, 45. Lights on. Alex was facing the wrong direction. They had turned unconsciously toward the sound of the footsteps. And in the split second between darkness and light, Alex saw them. Translucent figures, dozens of them, frozen mid-stride, running toward them, through them, their faces locked in expressions of ritual concentration. Night archivists, following Rule 6. Echoes running through their own pasts. The figures faded as the light solidified. Alex stood alone, gasping, their heart a hammer. The intercom crackled to life. Hour 4, 2:47 a.m. The voice. Are you archiving correctly? The voice was neither male nor female, neither young nor old. It was flat, bureaucratic, the voice of forms and carbon copies, and requisitions filed in triplicate. Alex's throat closed. They had to respond. Exactly right. Their voice cracked. I am filing what was never found. Silence. The intercom hissed static, then confirmed. Continue your shift. The intercom died. Alex exhaled, slumping against the desk. Their hands were shaking. How many more hours? They checked their watch. 2:48 a.m. 3 more lighting protocols. 1 more anomaly check. Then the final rule. The incinerator, burning the rules, writing new ones. You will know what to write. But Alex didn't know. They didn't know anything except fear and the smell of ozone and the weight of being watched by the archive itself. They stood. 3 a.m. was approaching. Time for aisle 47B again. Hour 5, 3 a.m. The anomaly check iteration 2 aisle 47B had moved. It was closer now, just 5 rows from the main desk. The archive was contracting, folding in on itself, all the distant places becoming near. Tape reel in 89 void was not in its case. Alex's blood went cold. File a requisition. Cabinet 12, the form will be rejected. This is correct. Alex ran to cabinet 12, yanked open the drawer. Requisition forms yellowed and brittle. They grabbed one, clicked a pen, began writing with shaking hands. Request for tape reel and 89 void. Reason, routine verification. Missing from designated location. Requested by Alex. Last name, date. Current date. They filed it in the designated slot. Immediately the form ejected itself, stamped in red ink. Rejected. Item does not exist. Alex stared at the stamp. The archive curates itself. They returned to aisle 47B. Tape reel in 89 void was back in its case, exactly where it should be. The label gleamed white in the dim light. Alex read aloud, voice hollow. Nothing is archived here. Behind them, a voice, their own voice, whispered, nothing is archived here. Alex did not turn around. Rule 2. Do not acknowledge. The voice faded. Alex returned to the desk. The computer monitor, still facing the wall, had turned itself on. Its glow painted the wall a sickly blue. Alex could see their shadow cast upon it, sharp and dark. But the shadow had 2 heads. Alex kept their eyes forward. Do not look at reflective surfaces. Their reflection works the night shift too. 4 a.m. couldn't come fast enough. Hour 6, 4 a.m. The lighting protocol. Final iteration. The walk to Sector C-7 felt like walking underwater. The air was thick, resistant. The fluorescent lights overhead flickered in patterns. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short, Morse code, SOS. How long had the lights been calling for help? Midnight, time to turn them off. Alex's hand hesitated on the switch. This was the last lighting protocol. After this, only 1 more anomaly check, then 6 a.m., then the incinerator, then writing the rules. You will know what to write. They flipped the switch. The darkness was immediate, but different this time. Warmer, almost welcoming. The presence that lived in these 45 seconds was closer now. More solid. 1, 2, 3. Alex kept their eyes on the floor, but the floor was wrong. It had texture now, visible even in the absolute dark. Grain, scan lines. The floor was footage, old footage, playing on loop. 10, 11, 12. In the footage, a figure standing exactly where Alex stood, following the rules, counting. This was someone else's shift, some other night, archived and replaying. 20, 21, 22. The figure in the footage looked up. Its face was a smear of static, features corrupted, but Alex knew, somehow knew, that it was screaming, silent, eternal screaming. That archivist had broken Rule 4, had looked at their reflection during the forbidden hours, and now they were footage, trapped in the archive's memory, forced to repeat their shift forever in the scanning darkness of C7. 30, 31, 32. Alex's eyes were locked on the floor footage, unable to look away. The figure below was reaching up, reaching toward Alex, its static-smeared hands pressing against the membrane between recorded past and living present. 40, 41, 42. The hands broke through, cold fingers wrapped around Alex's ankle. 43, 44, 45. Lights on. The floor was concrete, solid, empty. Alex's ankle burned with cold. When they looked down, they could see handprints and frost on their skin, fading as they watched. They ran back to the desk. 4:07 a.m. Another 7 minutes lost. The archive curates itself. Hour 7, 5 a.m. The anomaly check, final iteration. Alex approached aisle 47B with dread. The aisle had moved again. It was now directly adjacent to the main desk. Impossible to miss, impossible to avoid. The shelves were empty. Every tape reel, every box, every file, gone. Just bare metal shelving extending back into shadow. Except for one item, sitting on the shelf at eye level, tape reel 89th void. But it was outside its case. The tape was spooled out, stretching back into the darkness of the aisle, a ribbon of magnetic memory disappearing into nothing. Alex stepped closer. On the tape, visible in the low light, were words, handwritten directly onto the tape itself in white ink. The same words repeated over and over, hundreds of times along the ribbon. Nothing ice archived here. Nothing ice archived here. Nothing ice archived here. Alex's hand moved without conscious thought. They grabbed the tape reel, began winding the tape back into place. As they wound, the words blurred together, became a solid stripe of white, then disappeared entirely as the tape layered upon itself. When the tape was fully wound, Alex placed it back in its case, read the label aloud. Nothing is archived here. The shelves behind them groaned. Alex turned. The aisle was full again. Every tape, every box, every file back in place, but they were different now. The labels had changed. New names, new dates, new contents. The archive curates itself. Alex returned to the desk. 5:43 a.m. 17 minutes until 6. 17 minutes until the incinerator, until the burning, until the writing. They sat, pulled out the rules, read them one final time. At 5:47 a.m., the intercom crackled. "Are you archiving correctly?" Alex's response was automatic. "Now, I am filing what was never found. Confirmed. Your shift is ending. Proceed to sub-level 2. The intercom died. Alex stood, folded the rules, began walking toward the stairs that led down. Behind them, from deep in the archive, came the sound of footsteps, running, getting closer. Alex stopped, turned, faced the sound. Rule 6. The footsteps grew louder, faster, a stampede of night archivists running through time. Alex stood perfectly still, heart pounding, as the sound reached them and passed through them. The footsteps faded, continuing towards some point in the past, some moment the echoes needed to reach. Alex exhaled, continued toward the stairs. Sub-level 2 was waiting. Hour 8, 6 a.m., the final rule. The incinerator was older than the archive itself, a massive industrial furnace that radiated heat even when dormant. A small viewing window glowed orange. The fire never went out. Alex stood before it, the rules in hand. Rule 7. Burn these rules, all of them, then write new ones. They opened the furnace door. Heat washed over them, a physical force. They held the paper over the flames, hesitated. If they burned these rules, what would guide the next archivist? What would keep them safe? From the echoes, from the darkness, from their own reflection. You will know what to write. Alex dropped the paper into the flames. The rules caught instantly, curling and blackening. For a moment the red underlines glowed brighter, as if resisting, as if the warnings were trying to burn themselves into permanence. Then they were ash. Alex closed the door, turned to leave, stopped. On the wall next to the furnace, someone had written in chalk, "The rules burn, but the archive remembers." Alex climbed back to the main floor. 6:07 a.m. 7 minutes lost again. 7 seemed to be the archive's favorite number. They sat at the desk, pulled out a fresh piece of paper, found a pen. Their hand moved across the page, writing words they hadn't consciously thought. The letters came automatically, flowing from some deep knowledge they gained during the night, some understanding earned through survival. Department of Forgotten Records, Night Archivist Protocol, Rule 1, the lighting protocol. Every hour, on the hour, you must turn off the overhead lights in Sector C-7 for exactly 45 seconds, then turn them back on. Do not deviate, do not skip, do not extend. During those 45 seconds, keep your eyes on the floor. The darkness here has memory. Alex's hand cramped. They looked at what they'd written. It was identical to the original rules, word for word. Even the underlines were in the same places. No, they were creating the rules. They always had been. Understanding crashed over Alex like cold water. There was no original archivist, no first person to write the rules. The rules wrote themselves. passed from shift to shift, burned and reborn, an infinite loop of instruction and survival. Alex was not following in someone else's footsteps. They were creating the footsteps for others to follow. The archive curates itself. Alex's hand began writing again, moving to Rule 2, Rule 3, all 7 rules transcribing themselves through their fingers. When they finished, they read the last rule. Rule 7, the final rule. At 6 a.m., when your shift ends, you must go to the incinerator in sublevel 2. Burn these rules, all of them. Then go to your desk and write new rules for the next archivist. You will know what to write. The archive changes. The rules must change with it. You are not following instructions. You are creating them. You always have been. Below that, Alex's hand wrote one more line. A new rule. An 8th rule that hadn't existed before. Rule 8. The recursion. When you finish writing the rules, place them in the top right drawer of the desk. Lock it. Then clock out and leave. Do not look back. Tomorrow night there will be a new archivist. They will find the rules. They will follow them. They will burn them. They will write them again. You are not the first. You will not be the last. The archive needs night archivists the way it needs darkness, the way it needs silence, the way it needs echoes. Your shift is over. Your shift is beginning. These are the same thing. Alex stared at the words. Their hand was shaking. Outside the archive, through the high windows, dawn was breaking. Gray light filtered down. The front door unlocked with a heavy clunk. Footsteps approached. A voice called out, "Hey, you must be Alex. I'm here for the day shift. How was your first night?" Alex opened their mouth, closed it. What could they say? How could they explain? It was educational, Alex finally managed. The day shift archivist laughed. They all say that. You coming back tonight? Alex looked down at the rules, at the drawer, at the key in their hand. Yes, they said. I'll be back tonight. They would burn the rules again, write them again, add another line, another warning, another instruction. The archive would change. The rules would change with it. The archive curates itself. But now Alex understood. The archive was curating them too, shaping them, recording them, adding them to its collection of night archivists, past and present and future, all working the same shift simultaneously, all following the same rules, all writing the same rules, all burning the same rules, all becoming echoes. Alex placed the rules in the drawer, locked it, pocketed the key. As they walked toward the exit, the intercom crackled one final time. Are you archiving correctly? Alex stopped, turned back toward the empty desk, the locked drawer, the waiting darkness of the deeper archive. Smiled. I am filing what was never found. Confirmed, said the intercom. See you tonight. The voice was Alex's own. End transmission. Tape reel to 89 void. Contents archived. Nothing is archived here.